Episode 26, Building Bridges, Part 1. The morning air carried gentle warmth, a quiet promise that today could be different. Amina woke up with a sense of anticipation she hadn't felt for months. She stretched, feeling the slow ache of muscles hardened by work, but also the quiet thrill of progress. Step by step, day by day, they were moving closer to the life they had dreamed of. Marco was up, organizing tools and reviewing notes from his workshop projects. One morning, he said, glancing at her with a tired but steady smile, ready to tackle the day. Amina returned the smile, brushing back a strand of hair. Yes, I feel like we are finally building something, not just surviving. And I want to make it last. They shared a modest breakfast, a ritual of quiet intimacy and mutual reassurance. The simple act of preparing foods together has become symbolic, a representation of their collaboration, patience, and shared determination. Each small choice, each careful plan was a brick in the life they were constructing. After breakfast, they headed toward the community center. Marco had a long session of advanced electrical work ahead, repairing and rewiring devices for both residential and small commercial clients. Amina, meanwhile, had a practical course on client interaction and basic business planning. Both felt the weight of responsibility and the potential of opportunity. At the center, Marco worked meticulously on a circuit board for a local business. The task was intricate and demanding, requiring patience and steady hands. As he worked, he thought about how far they had come from uncertainty, fear, and survival to skill, purpose, and hope. Amina, in her class, practiced conflict resolution scenarios with other students. A difficult client challenged her patience and technique, but she remembered the lessons she had learned in the cafe and applied them carefully. The instructor nodded in approval. You are improving, she said. Keep practicing and you will build confidence that carries over to the real world challenges. During a short break, they reunited outside the courtyard. Sunlight bathed the stone paths, and gentle breeze carried the scent of fresh flowers from the nearby gardens. Amina shared her insights from the course, while Marco recounted technical tips he had learned from his repairs. Every small lesson, every shared insight felt like a bridge connecting them to a better future. I feel like we are starting to understand what it takes to create stability, Amina said, while smiling. It is not just earning money, it's learning, planning, and supporting each other every step of the way. Marco nodded. Exactly. It's a combination of effort, patience, and teamwork. And the best part, we get to do it together. As the afternoon sun shifted, they left the community center, their minds buzzing with ideas and strategies for the coming weeks. Each task, each lesson, each interaction was another piece of the bridge to the life they wanted. A life of independence and security and shared accomplishment. By the time they returned to their small room, the evening had begun to settle softly over the town. They cooked a simple dinner together, laughter mingling with conversation as they recounted moments of the day, lessons learned, and plans for an immediate future. Amina paused, her eyes reflecting the warm glow of the lantern. I think we are finally building a life that can withstand challenges, not just fleeting moments of peace. Marco held her hand firmly. We are fragile, yes, still, but real, and with each day we make it stronger. As the night fell, they lay together in quiet contentment. The road ahead was still long, filled with challenges and uncertainty, but hope had become tangible. Each day was a deliberate step, each lesson a break, and together they were building bridges to a future that, at last, held within reach. Part 2. The afternoon sunlight spilled across the town square, highlighting the bustle of daily life. Amina and Marco walked side by side, their movements synchronized through months of shared routine and mutual reliance. Every small task, every errand, every interaction with the townspeople had become a part of their carefully constructed rhythm, a rhythm that carried both the weight of the past and the promise of the future. Marco carried a small toolkit as he was headed toward a client's house. Today's project was delicate repairing an old wiring system in a modest home. It required precision, patience, and the steady hands that Marco had developed through both necessity and practice. Each connection repaired felt like a metaphor for their life, fragile at first, but slowly becoming stronger with careful attention. Armina, meanwhile, returned to her course at the community center, focusing on practical business management skills. The lesson today involved budgeting, forecasting, and managing limited resources, skills that directly apply to their modest life. She felt a mixture of apprehension and excitement as she absorbed the knowledge, realizing that each new skill was another tool in their growing arsenal for independence. During a short break, they reunited in the courtyard. The sound of children playing nearby was filling the air. The laughter reminded them of the normalcy they were building for themselves. However small and fragile it might still be. I never imagined we'd be able to do this, Amina said, watching the children run and play. To feel like we can actually create something that lasts. Marco smiled, brushing the loose strand of hair from her face. It's been hard, yes, but look at us. Every lesson, every job, every small success, it adds up. That's how stability built. Brick by brick, they spent the rest of the afternoon running errands for supplies needed for upcoming repairs and projects. At the market, Amina practiced negotiation skills she had learned in her course, gaining a small discount from a vendor while maintaining politeness and composure. Marco watched quietly, pride warming his chest as he saw her confidence grow. By the late afternoon, they returned to their home, carrying the fruits of their labor, groceries, repair materials, and a small notebook for planning their next steps. They prepared a modest dinner together, the routine of chopping, stirring, and sharing laughter, reinforcing the bond that had sustained them through so many challenges. As they sat side by side at their small table, Amina opened her notebook and began outlining plans for the coming weeks: coursework completion, additional repairs, budgeting for minor investments, and the small dream of eventually renting a larger space of their own. Marco added notes of his own, scheduling repairs, approaching new clients, and incorporating lessons from his course to improve efficiency and quality. Every note, every plan, and every detail was deliberate and conscious step towards building the future they had longed for. That's the thing, Amina said swiftly, looking at him with quiet determination. It's not just about surviving anymore. It's about constructing a lion that can withstand difficulties. And we're actually doing it. Marco squeezed her hand, a soft but firm reassurance. Exactly. It is fragile. Marco squeezed her hand, a soft but firm reassurance. Exactly. It is fragile, yes, but it's real, and with each day it becomes stronger. Together, there's nothing we can't face. As the night fell, they sat by the window, watching the moonlight spill across the rooftops. The quiet peace outside mirrored the tentative calm they felt inside. Fear had not disappeared, uncertainty still lingered, but hope had grown tangible, built through deliberate choices, shared effort, and unwavering support. That night, as they lay entwined, Amina whispered, step by step, brick by brick, we are finally building something that's ours. Marco pressed a kiss onto her forehead, and we'll keep building together. That's the bridge of tomorrow. Part 3. Night has settled softly over the town. The streets quiet except for the occasional distant chatter or creak of a door. Inside their small room, Amina and Marco sat together, the weight of the day fading into quiet satisfaction of accomplishment. Every task completed, every skill learned, and every careful decision made contributed to the fragile yet growing life they were constructing together. Amina leaned against Marco, her head resting on his shoulder. Do you ever think about how different things would have been if we hadn't taken this chance? She asked quietly. Marco smiled, brushing do, but then I remember that every choice we made, every risk we took, brought us here. It wasn't easy, and it still isn't. But look at us, we're building something real, step by step. She closed her eyes, letting his word anchor her. The past is still here, shadows, fears, mistakes, but I feel like, for the first time, they don't control us. Marco nodded. They don't, and they will never do. But if we keep choosing each other every day, that's how we turn fragility into strength. They shared a quiet meal of bread, cheese, and tea, the simple ritual reinforcing their partnership and resilience. Every movement, every action was deliberate, a small act of building a life that belonged to them and no one else. Later that day, they sat by the window, watching the soft glow of the street lamps and the moonlight over the rooftops. The town outside seemed calm and ordinary, but inside their lives were full of intention, planning, and hope. Amina opened her notebook, reviewing plans for the next week, budgeting carefully, scheduling coursework, and saving for their eventual move to a slightly larger place of their own. Marco added notes on his upcoming repair projects, potential new clients, and strategies to improve efficiency and quality. Each plan, each note was a deliberate step toward lasting stability. I think Amina whispered that we are finally reaching a point where we can handle whatever comes next. The past cannot touch us the way it used to. And the future, it feels like something we can shape. Marco held her hands firmly, their fingers intertwined. It is something we can shape. Fragile now, yes, but real. And together we'll keep making it stronger. As they laid down to sleep, exhaustion followed the day, mixed with quiet satisfaction and hope. Each challenge they had faced, each skill learned, and each small victory had become a break in their foundation of their life. The road ahead was still long, and uncertainty remained, but hope had grown tangible, a horizon they could reach step by step, break by break together. And in the quiet uncertainty of shared effort, love, and resilience, Amina and Marco allowed themselves to dream a life not only of survival, but of stability, freedom,